Welcome to Market Recap Live. I am your host, Joseph Martin, and thank God it's Thursday. It's Thursday, guys, and I had another long day, but I made a couple dollars in the market today, so I am good. So let's move on. Let's get to it. Tonight, we are taking a look at ticker AAPL. You might know them better as Apple. Apple Incorporated was founded in 1976 by Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and Ronald Wayne, with the first office opening in Los Altos, California. Now they're publicly traded on the NASDAQ and have a market value over $3 trillion. Yes, that's with a T. $1 trillion. Apple is in the technology, hardware, storage, and peripherals industry in the information technology sector, and they are listed in the S&P 500 index. Some of Apple Incorporated's competitors are Microsoft, ticker MSFT, Alphabet, ticker GOOGL, and Dell Technologies, ticker DELL. We're going to review Apple Incorporated earnings, their website, and visit the charts to perform a quick technical analysis. But before we do that, let's do our roll call and check our stream poll. We are streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. Let's get this chat going and tell us where you're tuning in from. Put a YT in the chat if you're tuning in from YouTube, and put an FB in the chat if you're tuning in from Facebook. While you guys are filling up the chat and the stream, here's the mission statement. We are building a community over here for people who want to take control of their financial situation by learning how to unlock the wealth building power of the stock market. And we are streaming Monday through Friday following trading sessions at 11 p.m. Eastern time. The U.S. stock market regular trading hours are 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern time, and there's a link for the New York Stock Exchange calendar down in the description. Okay, let's get to it. Let's get to these earnings. Now that we got this stream deck hopping and set up, we good. We flowing. Apple Incorporated, ticker symbol AAPL, the $4 trillion company. Yes, it's like 3.9 something. So let's go with the 4 trillion, even though earlier I said 3, it rounded up, but let's go. Reported its second quarter earnings today. They have a 52-week high of $288.62, which took place on December 3rd, and a 52-week low of $193.25 that occurred on May 7th, which is a trading range of $95.37, and they closed today at $271.35. Apple Incorporated earnings report beat on the top line, reporting revenue of $111.2 billion, which was higher than the market expectations of $110.6 billion, and beat on the bottom line as strong iPhone 17 demand and an all-time high in services revenue offset supply constraints and higher memory costs. EPS was higher than the analysts and market expectations of $1.95 when they reported an adjusted EPS of $2.01. Apple Incorporated reported a GAAP net income of $29.6 billion, which was higher than the $24.2 billion net income they reported this same quarter last year. This represents an increase of 22.3%. So for the second fiscal quarter of 2025, their net profit was approximately 18.2% lower than it is compared to now a year later. The earnings were released after the market closed, followed by a 5 p.m. Eastern time conference call. As far as guidance, management authorized an additional $100 billion share repurchase program and raised the quarterly cash dividend by 4% to 27 cents per share. That 52-week high compared to today's closing of $271.35 represents a decline of 6% over a span of approximately 5 months. So if someone invested $1,000 in December at that 52-week high of $288.62, they would be seeing a loss of $59.84. Let's go. So let's talk about why we visit these company websites. We're looking at the visuals and text to find answers to these key questions. What goods and or services does the company sell? How important are those goods and services to their customers? What makes this company stand out from the competition? And how well do they take care of their employees? To find those answers, we browse 4 key areas: the homepage for the goods and or services, about us for purpose, vision, and mission statements, careers for employee benefits and opportunities, and investor relations for SEC filings and stock quotes. And for your convenience, all companies featured in tonight's live stream are down, are down in the description. Now, let's go to Apple Incorporated's website. Before we do, let me say something. Now, tonight I'm flowing, right? I'm flowing, I'm getting it, we going, and I'm choking up. Ain't that something? It's always something. Let's go over here to the website. I need a drink of water. All right, let's go. Here we go. Apple. All right, now we put the right disclaimer on here. And I'm serious, guys. I need a drink of water. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Thank you for being patient. Hit that like button. Let's go. All right, now we are on Apple's website. Apple does a lot of different things. We know they sell computers, they sell laptops. They have a whole ecosystem. And right now, this is just all phones. They just showing everything about phone. And it's like Apple has this moat when it comes to their business because of their ecosystem, Like once somebody goes to Apple with any device, it's like they want everything to be Apple at that point, because Apple makes it extremely difficult for their devices to sync with anything outside of their ecosystem they've created. It's like seamless. With everything that's Apple, is seamless. You try to step outside of that and use an Android or anything like that, they put you through the flux. Even the apps on their devices, I think, are limited and are styled different compared to what you have on an Android device or a different type of computer or a tablet or anything like that. Okay, so we talked about the iPhone. This says A19 Pro, so that's a chip and battery life. Can we scroll? Oh, here it is right here. So I'm gonna scroll through this. We are on the home page, and the links for these websites are down in the description for your convenience. So is this for like if you lose something? This AirTag. So Apple has that, significant others. So iPhone and the Mac. All right. And they always coming out with it. It's like as soon as you get a device, as far as I know, they come out with another one. I think I tried Apple. I think I had got like a tablet or something like that. And I didn't like what I had to go through. And I saw how it was very difficult to use everything else I had. I'm like, I'm gonna have to switch everything to Apple. So that was what got me. That's me. So I'm Android. I'm team Android. And yeah, it's like a gang. Like people's like, I'm team Apple. So anyway, here we are. We down at the bottom of the page. Let me take me off the screen. Let me show you what I'm looking for. So I'm looking through here. I want to find, and look, they have finance stuff like Apple Wallet, Apple Card, Apple Pay, Apple Cash. I mean, they got a lot of different stuff they got going on. So I am looking, so here's investors. So we know where that is. Here's career opportunities. Okay, so what I'm looking for is the about. So it says about Apple, but they got Apple leadership. Guess we're just gonna have to go right here to Apple leadership. And maybe what I'm looking for is gonna be in the career opportunities. Yeah, let's go ahead and go with that, guys. Let's go with that. So let's go to Apple leadership. All right, so there's Tim Cook, the CEO. He looks familiar. Let me put me back on the screen. And here are the other people involved. And when you look at the insider, like the SEC, I know we haven't talked about this, but the SEC filings, These people names are going to come up as the insiders on that on those documents that you pull up on the SEC website. And I know we haven't talked about that, but now you know, like the board of directors and things like that. When you look at those filings, the names that come up and you like, who are they talking about? These are the pictures for those people that's associated with those names and their positions in the company. All right, so we're going to go over to career opportunities. Join us, be you. Watch the film. You can do that on your own time. The link is down in the description for your convenience. This is where individual imaginations gather together, committing to the values that lead to great work. So that might be their values. Join a team and inspire the work. We aren't merely creating products. We're creating something magical for the person who uses it. We want you to use all these apples we got over here. At Apple, you can unapologetically be yourself and grow and thrive. I have yet to see anything that says mission, vision, or purpose. Our values are part of everything built here, including careers. Remember, the link is in the description if you want to scroll through something you saw that caught your attention. So what I'm looking for, we're going to look at the top. We're going to look up right here. I'm just scrolling to go back to the top, like right up here, overview. This is probably going to take us to different sections on the website, but let's just browse through here and see if we can find something that says benefits. There we go. It's under life at Apple. Okay, right here, benefits. So let's see what they have to offer the employees. We count on you and you can count on us. Apple is Apple because the world's most dedicated, passionate people make a difference in the lives of our customers. Okay. So this is at a store opening, this photograph. They're talking about that right here. So we see the whole you. Feel good in body and mind. Where are the benefits? Is this the same lady that was up here? I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm just going to scroll through this and look for anything that says the exact thing we were talking about as far as the benefits. Feel good about receiving. There are a lot more ways to feel good here. Okay, where are the list of benefits? I don't see it. So maybe we got to click on something that gives us a list, but I'm ready to move on. Oh, okay, I didn't read it. So we'll match your donations. Yeah, they have it spread out. This isn't as smooth as I've seen on other websites when they talk about the benefits that they offer the employees. Like, you got to read through this. So they mentioned the 401k right here. You can't see it. The 401k right here, the matching, savings goal, et cetera, et cetera. Like, you're going to have to read through all of this. And that was in Singapore. So he's telling you the different locations. They're being vague. That's what I think. The other companies, some give more details, some don't give details at all. And then some companies are really specific. Like, I think when we looked at Domino's Pizza, they broke it down to like your department. Like, if you were salary, if you were full-time, hourly, and they broke it down what type of benefits you got based on the tier of employee you were, as far as like where you were in the company. But this seems real vague to me. So let's move on and go to investors relations. So I'm gonna check the bottom. Let's see right here. So right here where it says investors, let's click there. And let's see what we can find with this stock information, guys. Zoom in to 150. There we go. So news and results. I'm going to scroll over this homepage for this investors homepage, not Apple's main homepage. Okay, I see what they got. Jump back to the top. Now we're going to look right here. So remember when I mentioned the SEC, we're going to do something a little different. So remember when I mentioned the SEC filings right here. So if you click that, remember those names, those pictures? There go the CEO, Tim Cook, right there. So you guys can see I know a little bit more about what I'm talking about. So that's something he filed with the SEC. Those other pictures of those different people, their names will pop up here because people that's affiliated with the company have to file with the SEC when they make changes with their stocks and things like that. Read up on it. That's what this is. Some of the stuff that they have to file with SEC. It's a whole bunch of different stuff they have to file to be compliant. But when you look here and you see these names and you don't know who these people are, usually they're insiders. They're going to be people like the board of directors, the CEO, the financial officer, all of that different type of stuff. And they showed you who those people were when we looked at, let me pull them up again real quick, just to remind you where we saw that at, just in case you wanted to come back here and see it. When we looked at Apple leadership, so remember, they put his full name. Up here it says Tim Cook, but on the SEC filing it says Timothy Cook. So now if we go back and go to investors, we're under SEC filings right now, and there it is, Timothy D. Cook. Okay, so now you know how to look at what shares they've received and things like that. So let's go to stock price. So here's the stock price. This is how much they went up today. Here's with the volume, stock price. Here's the chart that they offer on the website. Here's the stock quote information. Let's see if they have some other tools. I don't think they have any other tools. They talk about their values here. So remember, we're looking for purpose and vision and all of that. So they talk about the values right here. We believe that business at its best serves the public good, empowers people around the world, and binds us together as never before. And this is a quote by Tim Cook, which we looked at his picture. We looked at where he was with it, where he had his SEC filing and all the other good stuff. So visit our values website and explore our reports. All right, so let's move on. We need to get to the charts. Okay, let's talk about it. Before we look at the charts, remember, professionals trade from a computer, not a mobile device. Mobile trading apps are limited. Traders lose critical detail and advanced platform features on a mobile screen. So be advised, trading from a phone is usually the least effective way for managing assets. To see every detail, use a full trading platform and watch these streams on a computer or TV. Only use a phone as a last resort. Now let's look at the charts for Apple. AAPL, let's go. All right, we still have them pulled up on the screen. Let's put the right disclaimer. There we go. So we are looking at, thank you guys for tuning in. Hit that like button. I definitely would appreciate it. We are looking at a 1-year daily chart for Apple. And as we know, they had earnings today. It doesn't look like they had much of a reaction. It didn't gap up or gap down off of earnings, but the earnings were mentioned after market. So we need to look and see over here. So like we talked about yesterday, we're going to look at the extended hours. So let me zoom in and show this before we put the levels on the chart. So here's the daily candle for today, and they closed and opened real close to one another. That's why this kind of looks like a spinning top or a doji. That's what they would call it. So we're going to go over to the minute chart, and we already have the extended hours pulled up. So we can see that when they gave the earnings after hours at 5 p.m. Eastern time, it shot up. So they closed today. We talked about that. They closed at $271.35. And then after hours, when they released the earnings, it went up to $284.89. That was the high in the extended hours after they had closed. So somebody liked the earnings for them to jump in and buy it up like that after hours. So here's where they're trading at right now. But now they're trading at 278. And we just saw it was at 284. So it's lost about $5 or $6 since then. Now that it's, well, $6 or $7 now that it's trading at 278. So let's do some quick technicals. Let's use the weekly chart. So this is a 10-year weekly chart. And I'm going to put a support and resistance there based off the peak here. And this, let's zoom in because this probably look real small to you. So this is 2024, this area right here. So this is January and this is December 2024. So this week right here was December 23rd of 2024. So we're going to use that high as support and resistance. And if we're going to look for recent support, I'm going to draw a zone here. So let me use this rectangle tool. And I'm going to put this right here. So that's going to be my support zone. And now we're going to go back over to the daily chart, and we can see how these candles drop down in that zone, touch the bottom of it, touch the top. We can see that. So here's where we are today. Here's the daily candle. So these areas are going to be support because the price is above these levels. So we have our first support that I'm seeing at $260.10, and then this zone down here. And the top of the zone, if I go to edit properties, the top of this zone is going to be $248.27. The bottom of the zone is $243.76. So I hope that you can see that. Now, if we're looking for resistance, just to be fair, I'm going to say the resistance is going to be, it kind of touched it today. I'm going to draw it as a zone. So let's say this is resistance. We can use this because these wicks literally came like right to it. So there's my resistance zone. We can see that these wicks failed to reach it, but I'm using this area right here on these daily candles to get an idea of where this price ends up having trouble at. So I'm gonna extend this over so you can see that those other candles to my left are doing the same thing. So I go to edit properties on that tool, and I'm going to take the date back on the lowest date. So it's this one right here. Take the calendar, we go back. We don't need to go back that far, but there we go. 2025, there you go. So now you can see to the left where this wick wasn't able to get through it and fell back down. And this candle touched it and came back down. And these candles traded inside that support resistance zone for a while. So that's what I'm seeing in my technical analysis with Apple. And right now, this is where they're trading at. So let's zoom in and get the stock quote for Apple. Pull this over, cut my floating data box back on, or cut it on because I didn't have it on. Floating, apply. All right. So I'm going to mouse over today's candle and let's talk about it. So ticker Apple, AAPL, opened today at $270.50. They had a high of $276. They had a low of $268.14. And they closed today at $271.35, which was a trading range of $7.86. Now we're going to look at this volume. So Apple traded 91 million shares of this stock today. Oh boy. So now we need to look at what their average volume is so we can get an idea of how much more or how much less today's volume was. And remember, when companies have earnings, they usually have a lot of volume on earnings just before and just after. So tomorrow, because they announced the earnings after market, we might see a lot of volume tomorrow as well. All right, so here's the average volume. Let me take me off the screen so you can see it right here on my label. Apple trades 50 million shares in a trading session on average. So they almost did twice as much, just shy by about 8 million shares of doubling their average. So definitely seeing a lot of volume. And the day before, it was lower than average. So Wednesday, they only saw 30 million shares traded. So now when we go over to my label for the volume rank percentile tool, let me put me back on the screen, it's 96%. So what that means, let me get a sip of water. So what that means, out of the most recent 252 trading days, only 10 days had higher volume than today. Okay, so we did our quick technical analysis with Apple, and they do pay a dividend. And when we talked about that earlier, when we went over the earnings, they raised the dividend by 4%. I believe that's what I said to you. So it used to be 26 from what I'm seeing. I know if you're looking at a phone or something, it's very small and this green line is over it. But the last time they paid dividends, it was 26 cents per share. And now they expect to pay, or they're scheduled to pay, they made the announcement that they're going to pay 27 cents per share as a dividend. And when I'm looking at the EPS, The EPS is rising. This one, but the one they released today was lower than the last time they announced the EPS. So let me take me off the screen so you can see what I'm talking about. So right here, I hate the fact this line is in. Let me see if I can cut this line off real quick. Where would that be in my settings? If I go here, which label is that? I believe it's this one. Bear with me, guys. I want to see if I can take these green and yellow lines off the screen. Show low and high, percent high. Yes, it's days above. Right here, show plot. Let me see if I can take this off. Low, show plot. Yeah, we good. So those lines gone so you can see. All right. The EPS. So if we go back, so today the EPS was $2.01. If we go back, it was $2.84. So this was the last time they did the EPS announcement. So this announcement was lower. But if we look at the 2 times before the 284 EPS, $2.84 EPS, it was increasing because it went from $1.57 EPS earnings per share to 185 earnings per share. Then it jumped to 284 earnings per share. And now this is lower at $2.01 earnings per share. So I'm keeping an eye on that, but they did increase the dividend. All right. So I can put me back on the screen and we can go back here because we did the earnings, we did the technical analysis. So now we can move on and we can get this going. So back to the community. I would appreciate it very much if you guys would share the stream, hit the like button, subscribe, and if you wish to send a monetary gift to support the content, Cash App and PayPal links are down in the description. And I need to fix this button because for some reason it isn't pulling this up when I push it. But here we go. There we go. Now put this back. And we are good. We got it. All right. So I did that. The ticker, PayPal, and Cash App. We got it up there. Now, okay, let's look at the S&P 500 index to see what they did today by using the SPY ETF. This ETF gives investors an opportunity to participate in the broader U.S. market by allowing them to own a percentage of each company in the S&P 500 index. All right. So let's go over to the SPY. Let's go back to the charts. Bam. Take Apple off because we are about to look at the SPY. There we go. So you can see what that ticker is. We got the Schwab disclaimer up. So right here in the symbol box, we're going to put in SPY and we're going to see technicals all over this boy because we look at it every night. Oh, they made a new high today. I feel like Sherman Clump mama. Ooh, I don't know what's going on with me. That's what popped in my head when I did it. But yeah, we hit a new high. We hit a new high today, guys. A new high. So now the new high on the SPY, that rhyme. The new high on the SPY is $719.79. They were not playing. And it had an increase in volume. So I'm looking at the technicals. That's what I'm eyeballing. So now it broke through resistance. It was struggling with this area of support and resistance, this zone that I had drew here a while ago when we were checking this every night that we do these live streams at 11 p.m. I believe we drew the support resistance zone somewhere around here. So since then, it's been dancing and teasing all over it. Now today, on Thursday, it actually opened here. So it opened above the support resistance zone. So now it's officially support because the price opened above it. But during the trading session today, this wick shows us that during that trading session, the price did fall below this support zone that we drew on the chart, but it was able to recover and close here at the top of the body of the candle. Now, I don't know if they hit this high earlier in the day or towards the end of the day, but we can go look at the minute chart to figure that out. Now, we've never done that before, but I'm going to go ahead and show you what that looks like. So this is a intraday chart. So we're looking at an intraday chart, and they even went up higher because these are extended hours. So in the extended hours, they went up even higher. They went up to $721.25. The SPY Woo, it's going crazy. It is hot. All right, so let me cut off the extended hours so I can show you what I mean about the candle that we're looking at. Because the candle we're seeing on the chart, it doesn't have this extended hours information in here. It just has this black, this dark black area. So let me zoom this in. I can do this a different way. Let's zoom in. So this is the area that you're seeing on the candle, that daily candle that we're looking at, and this is that support resistance zone. So now each one of these candles that you're looking at on this in particular chart are minute candles. And this is from 9:30 a.m. At the bottom of the screen, you should be able to see the time. So that's from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's military time. So it's going to be 1600. 1600 is 4 p.m. Eastern time. That's what we're looking at. So now we can see how the body of that candle formed. We can actually see how it formed. So we go back. This shows us, when we look at the minute chart, I'm going to show you that the price came down first. So earlier in the trading session, around 9, 10, and 11, the price opened here and then it came down. And then throughout the day, it came all the way up to the top and then it closed here just before the market closed. Now, how do I know that? Because we went and we looked at the minute chart. So in the minute chart, we know from 9:30, the price came down. That's when it tested that support resistance zone and it actually failed and came out, but then it recovered and got back above it and it traded all the way up to here. So this 1 minute candle right here. Let me zoom in so I can show you something. This good tonight. This good. I'm giving you some game. This 1 minute candle right here. Oh yeah, it says I'm on one tonight. I'm ready. I'm ready. So let me put this price level in. This candle right here. All right, you see that? It says $719.79. That's the candle that's producing the high on the daily chart. So now if we go back, that's the 719.79. That's inside this one candle. So they took all of those candles on the minute chart and push them all the way down to create that one giant candle. So you can get an idea of what happened that day by just looking at that day candle. That's what we're looking at. Let me put the SPY back on the screen. So that's what we're looking at. So if we wanted to break it down and kind of figure out how did it actually move through the session that day, just look at the minute chart. So now that we're looking at a minute chart, we can see, let me take me off the screen, that the price came down in the morning. I don't know if I blocked it earlier, but the price came down in the morning, then it recovered, traded up, made that high, then sold off a little bit and closed here. So that's what we're looking at. And then whatever you draw on the higher time frames, it's going to show up on the lower time frame. So here's that zone. Here's the high. And this top of the green candle, the body part, is where they closed at today. All right, so I gave y'all some game tonight. So let's go ahead and move on and let's get the ETF quote for today. Put me back on the screen and then we'll talk about the volume because they definitely had increasing volume today. So floating data box. Now, the SPY opened today at $714.63. They had a high of $719.79, and they had a low of $710.45, and they closed today at $718.66, which was a trading range of $9.34. Now, when we look at the trading volume, they traded 67 million shares of this ETF today, okay? Now, they're still trading below average as far as their volume, but it's increasing. It's definitely increasing. So let me go over here and show you that. Let's use our labels. This is going to make it real easy. Easier to read than you trying to me teach you all of that. We can just read the labels. It's right here in front of your face. Basic math. So right here, average volume. The average volume for this ETF is 76 million shares traded in a traded session from that 9:30 a.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. This is what they trade on average. Today, they did 67 million shares, which is below average. But if we look here, the previous volume, so this is Wednesday's volume, was below average. So this was 41 million shares traded on Wednesday. Today, Thursday, they traded 67 million. So this is higher, so it's increasing. That's what I'm looking at. And if we go back, let me show you something. This right here where it says volume, this number next to it, every candle that I mouse over, that volume is telling me what's in that candle. So now I'm moused over Tuesday's candle because today is Thursday. So on Tuesday, the volume was 43 million. So it was still below average, but it was lower than Wednesday, but it was still in the 40s, around 40 million. So it was 43 million on Tuesday, 41 million on Wednesday, and today they did 67 million shares traded. So volume is increasing and the price is going up. And this is what I was trying to share with you guys or explain. When we're looking at price moves, it's better to see increasing volume and a certain direction of price movement. So it wasn't indecision. Like these candles are indecision because they closed so close to where they opened at. So that's like indecision. Like they didn't know what they wanted to do. Do it want to go up or do it want to go down? It stayed in a real tight range as far as the open and the close. That's why it looked like a top. But today they wasn't confused. We want to go up. And when we looked at the minute chart, we see in the extended hours, it went up even higher after the market closed. And another reason this happened, guys, let me explain why this happened, or give you an idea. It was a lot of big names that had earnings today that announced after hours. And it's going to take, we already been chopping it up, but it's a lot of big companies that had earnings today that announced after hours. So if they had good earnings and a lot of stuff, it's going to push the SPY up anyway. So that's what we're seeing because the top 500 companies in the US stock market are all calculated into the SPY. So when they do good, the SPY do good. So that's what we're seeing after hours. Okay. All right. So I broke down a lot of stuff that we usually don't cover like this today. It's the weekly. Let's put this back here. Zoom out a little bit. All right. Let's move on. Let's go back to the main. All right. Now we're going to look at today's winners and losers. And finally, it's some different companies. So we get to dive in and look at some different stuff that's going on today with some different companies we haven't seen on the live stream before. So we're about to dive into that. But first, we're going to look at the losers so we can end the night on a high note. So let's go over here to our watch list. Took the SPY off the screen? Not yet. Let's go ahead and take the SPY off the screen. Let's hit you with the light. Matter of fact, guys, I need some followers over on my official Facebook page. So let me put that on the screen. Please, pretty please, go over there and follow that page. Cut the notifications off if you want to. I need to get at least 100 followers so I can start live streaming on my official Facebook page. Help a brother out. Go over there and follow. Ain't gonna cost you nothing. Just follow, man, so I can get my live streams going on my official Facebook page. All right. All right. So we're going to go over here to Market Watch, the Market Watch tab right here at the top. Go ahead and click that. And now we have the S&P 500 watch list pulled up, and it's already showing us the biggest losers. So the biggest loser in the S&P 500 today is ticker WTW, Willis Towers Watson Public Limited Company. Boy, it was a mouthful. So they're the biggest loser today. So they lost 11.69%. The previous close was $290.11, and today they closed at $256.20. So let's pull up our calculator to do our little hypothetical math. So let's say if somebody invested $100, we're going to use a real low number today. Somebody invested $100. How much of that would they have lost by losing 11.69%? This is so easy. I can do this off the top of my head. They would have lost $11.69. But I'm going to show you how this would look on the calculator. The formula is the same. You would just change this number, the $100, to whatever hypothetically someone would invest it. $20, $800, $1,400, just change this number. All the other numbers would be the same. So in this case, $100. So we're going to multiply this times the percentage. So it was 11.69, and then we hit the percentage. Okay. And now we click equal. But keep in mind, this was a loss. This wasn't a gain, right? So we're going to get fancy tonight. We hit the negate because it was a loss. It was 11.69% loss. So now when we hit equal, it's going to say you lost or someone lost $11.69. Now we don't have to use the negate because we already put it in the formula. And then we add the original investment money back to it. So the original investment money or the principal was $100. Now, when we add it, since the other number is negative, it's actually going to take it away from the $100. So that person would be left with $88.31. Guys, this is basic math. Get that whole thing out your head about I'm bad at math. You're going to be bad with money then. This basic math, this addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, percentages, and decimals. Get the basic math down. Get your basic math game up. If you want to get your money up, you got to understand basic math. Don't ever say I'm bad at math again. Get better at it. If you know you're bad at it, get better at it. Get your basic math down, guys. All right. So we got that. We already have it selected. Let's go over here to analyze. We got that tab. So ticker WTW, we talked about that. They are in the financial sector, okay? So what I want to do today, I'm feeling real good. Let's go over here to the visualize, and we're going to look at how the financials industry did just by glancing at that sector. So I moved kind of fast. So we went over to the Market Watch tab, and then we hit the Visualize sub tab. Over here on the left-hand side, this is our watch list. These are our watch list. So we went down to the S&P 500. This is all of the companies. I know that look like a lot of stuff. We're about to break it down. This is all of the S&P 500 companies right here. And we're going to go to the financial sector, and we want to see how the financial companies performed. So right here is financials. We click on that, and then boom. So we can see as far as the sector, it really didn't do bad today. Let me take me off the screen. So green basically means it went up. Bright green means it went up a lot. Bright red means it did really bad. So right down here, that WTW, here it is, Willis Towers Watson. It's bright red, and they're the biggest loser today, so it should be bright. So now we're going to break this down and zoom into that. So it says when we mouse over it that this is in the insurance sector. Industry. This is the insurance industry. So if we wanted to just focus on this one, because this is where that company is, we would go over here and click on insurance. And then it zoomed in so we can see it even better now. And then it breaks it into sections again. So this is property and casualty insurance. That's life, health insurance, life and health insurance. And they're in the insurance broker section. So now when we zoom in, we can see that a lot of the insurance broker section actually did poorly today. Now we getting specific. So we went from sector down to industry, down to sub industry. So the sub industry is insurance brokers. They all did bad. Okay. So let's go back over to analyze and let's talk about the company. They're right here. So Willis Towers Watson Public Limited Company profile. Here's their website. Link for the website is down in the description for your convenience. We're going to read a little bit of this description and then we're going to move on. Willis Towers Watson Public Limited Company operates as an advisory, brokering, and solutions company worldwide. The company operates through two segments: health, wealth, and career and risk broking. Okay, that's all we're going to read. Let's go ahead and go over to their website. I do have them pulled up on the screen. So here we go. Bam. Here's their website. Put me back on the screen because I was hiding, but now I'm back. All right. I didn't browse over their website, telling on myself. I didn't do that before. The live stream had a long day, but we're going to dig through this together. So we're going to browse over and see what we can find. Already I see the investors relations section. I did zoom in ahead of time. So this is zoomed in about 150%. But in the upper right-hand corner, we see the investors relations tab. We also need to look for careers. It's right next to it. So we're going to browse over the website and see if we can find the vision, the mission, and the purpose statement. And let me click the menu button and see what we got hiding here. About us. So when we scroll over this page, if we don't find what I just named, then we're going to come back up here to the menu and click on About Us and see if we can find it over there. So I'm giving you the game plan right now. All right. Breakthroughs that matter. WTW is proud to partner with Net Company, the Nuclear Reliability Dividend, Global Markets Overview, Pooled Employer Plans, blah, blah, blah. I don't see what I said we was looking for. And we are at the bottom. And we can see that they also have those options down at the bottom. Excuse the sip. Here we go. So about us, bam, right there. Careers, got it. Investors, got it. So we don't have to go all the way back up to the top. Let's go to about us. Overview, managing people, risk, and capital to propel the world's leading businesses forward. This is perspective. This is perspective that moves you. Okay. Contact us. Looking, vision, purpose, mission. Don't see anything that really jumps out to me. There we go. Our purpose and values. Our purpose is why our company exists. At WTW, we transform tomorrows. Okay. Okay. And our values are more than words. We need some words, guys. The first sentences, and I'm pluraling the mess out of it. The first words in these sentences is that's a poor purpose, man. Our purpose is why our company exists. Okay, we need the purpose. So let's have a company. Usually a purpose and a vision statement says a lot in a sentence. That's not really saying much to me. And then the next one, our values are more than words. What? You using words. What is your values? Like oh gosh. All right. And they got a list of them. So I'm just telling you how I saw that. That might do it for you. That's really vague to me. I want to know what we got going on in one sentence to grab me. Like grab me with that first sentence that make me want to read more. That don't make me want to read more. Maybe their goal was to be vague, to be curious. I don't know. But that was that. So we found, I guess, the vision and the purpose. Well, we found values and purpose. Maybe we can find the other stuff in careers. So let's go to careers. And thank you guys for staying with me and tuning in. If you haven't done so already, hit that like button and subscribe. I definitely would appreciate it. If you're on Facebook, hit the follow, hit the like, hit the share. Let's zoom in full screen. All right, full screen, zoom in. Let's go to the 150. Okay, blow this back up. Give me a second, guys. Got to set this up because they popped this up on the other phone. Other screen. Okay, so now that we're at the careers, we're going to keep an eye out for vision, purpose, mission. I think we've seen purpose. Right, our purpose is to have a company. All right, so we're looking for vision and mission. So they talk about our business, and they talk about 4 key business areas. Risk and brokering, our health, wealth, and career teams, corporate functions teams. Okay, authentic, curious, bold. I think we're about to reach the bottom real quick. So our colleagues, explore life, where we are. Oh, now this is impressive. I like this map. I like when they put these maps up. So I like how these companies, I like when they put these maps up to show when they have different locations all over the world and how many jobs they have open and what those jobs are in different locations. I like when they do that. I think that's what they're doing here. Let me click on it to make sure. This is nice. Yep, client relationship and operations lead, client executive. Yeah, that's nice. So let's zoom out. Zoom out. So if you're interested in where you are, they gave us, why they zoomed out too far. They showed Africa twice. They went out too far. So you can zoom in and find you something. All right, let's move on. We trying to find benefits, vision, and mission. I'm playing. All right, let's go up here and put me back on the screen. Having a good old time. You can't even see me. Why do we use the experience? Risk broker, Why? Early careers. I don't see benefits, guys. I don't see benefits. and I'm about to move on. The link for this website is down in the description for your convenience. Our purpose, values, and culture. So they have purpose, values, and culture. They don't have mission and vision. Our value. So this is, yeah, I think that's what they had said. Our values are what inspire us to transform our tomorrows. They inform how we work together. They create our unique culture, and they empower us to achieve the best possible results for one another and for our clients. So that's that. Your benefits. While we make sure our benefits package is always varied and competitive, the exact benefits we offer at WTW may vary from country to country. Vague again. So it's vague. You got to actually apply to find out what those benefits are. Some companies give it up in the website, some don't. So as I'm seeing, and I'm not surprised, because from what I'm reading, a lot of what they're saying seems vague to me. It's pretty words, but it ain't saying much. Many networks, one global community inclusion doesn't stand still. Here's some awards that they've won or earned, however you want to word that. All right, now we're going to go to, I'm ready to go to the investors relations, and I don't see that down here. I know why, because this is a whole nother website. Let's go back to the main website. Here we go. Investors relations. See, after dealing with this stuff for a while, boy, you learn how to get through this. Now we're going to bring this over. Investors relations. Load this up. Full screen, zoom in. 125, 150. There we go. So investors relations. Here's the stock quote. Well, not the stock quote, the stock. $256.20. That 11.69% they lost today. Scroll over the home page, talk about the number of countries they're in, the number of colleagues, the revenue. Okay. Remember, the link for the website is down in the description for your convenience if you want to look over this. All right, now let's go up here, financial news, events, stock information. This is where we want to go. Also, on my mouse over, you can click this also. And normally both, if they do this, like if this is clickable and they have this, they usually take you to the same place. But I'm just going to go ahead and use the top link. So stock quote and chart, and they do have other tools here, and it does look like the company pays dividends. So let's go ahead and click stock quote and chart. There we go. So we got the stock quote. Here's the chart that they offer on their website. Merger related stock information. This would be something I would have to look into if I was interested. So that's it, guys. I think it's time for us to go over to the charts. So let's go. Bam. Bam. Okay, I see what happened. Give me 1 second. Forgot to blow this back up. Now, did we sit up there that whole time with that doggone Charles Schwab, this thing at the bottom instead of this is not financial advice? I believe that's what we did, but let's move on. All right, so we have them pulled up. Let's go over to the charts. We are looking at a 1 year daily chart. They are the biggest loser, so I'm going to calm down a little bit when I see these big drops, but ooh-wee. They definitely fell down today, so I'm going to zoom in. This is today's candle. So from what I'm seeing today, they hit a 52-week low, guys. They hit a 52-week low of $246.61. If I zoom out, here's their 52-week high. Their 52-week high is $352.79. So that's the quick view that stands out to me immediately when we look at the chart. Also, the price has been trading below the 9 simple day moving average, which is going to be this dashed green line. That's the 9-day simple moving average. 200-day simple moving average is the dashed white line. So it's been trading under the 9 and, well, it's been trading under the 200 for longer. So it's been trading under the 200 since this big candle right here, which was on February 9th, 2026. And then it's been flip-flopping across this 9, but it's definitely been trading below the 200. So that's what we're looking at there as far as support and resistance. Oh gosh, I'm going to put a line here because we are, what time we got? Yeah, we already spent a lot of time on this tonight. So let me take me off the screen. We're going to use a line so we can speed up this technical analysis. This is the loser because we still got to cover the winner tonight. So let me take me off the screen so you can see this. So here is what I'm going to use as resistance because the price is below that right now. But I just want to show you what I'm seeing as support and resistance when it was up here at these levels. So that's definitely support and resistance. And I'm going to say this is going to be a zone for me. I'm going to say this is like a zone. Yeah, let's do a zone. Because it would dip down in this area. That's too high. That's too high. Give me a second. It would dip down in this area, but it recovered. Like it wouldn't stay down in this area. So I'm going to say that's a support and resistance zone. And then when we look over here, it gapped down something crazy. So when they had earnings as well. So they had earnings today, and I'm looking to see. So they announced their earnings before the market opened. And let me show you what I'm looking at right here. Mouse over it. It said 8 a.m. Central. So that's going to be 9 a.m. Eastern time. They announced their earnings before the market opened. So the market opened and ploop, dropped down. So they gapped down. And that window or gap is from $286.75 to the high of today, which is $267.60. So that zone that I drew as resistance is right in the middle of the gap that happened today. And they had a bunch of indecision up in here because it went down and it went up and then it closed lower than it opened. So it opened here at the top of the body of the candle and it closed at the bottom of the candle. The bottom of the body of the candle. And remember, we can look at the minute chart to get a better idea of how the price actually moves. So when the market opened, we can see, let me zoom in. This is the minute chart of the price action today. So what this is showing me or showing us is that the price came down first and then it recovered throughout the day and then closed a little and then went down again. So now we know the story when we look at the daily chart. So the price opened here. Then it dropped down at the beginning of today's trading session. Then it came all the way back up to here. And then it closed here. That's what we seen. Let's go back and see that one more time. Actually, that's not what we seen. I explained that wrong. Here is the high. They went up when the market first opened. So let's go back and tell that story again. They opened here at the top of this red candle, on the top body of the candle. Then the price shot up here, then came all the way down to the bottom, and then ended up closing here. That's what actually happened when we looked at the mini chart. That was the story that we saw. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Now, earlier when we talked about the earnings, they do pay dividends. So the dividends that they paid last time was 96 cents. The time before that, it was 92 cents. I don't see any dividends posted further out. Let me zoom out. I don't see anything coming up, but they were paying dividends. So that would be something somebody would need to look into if they were interested in that. Let's go back to the weekly chart and see if we can find some support historically. So this is the 10-year weekly chart, and now I'm going to look for support to see. So I'm looking right here, this candle right here. I'm going to use a line. I need to speed up. So this right here, the bottom of that wick, that's what I'm going to put as the support. So now and what time was that? That was in 2024, the week of April 22nd. So the week of April 22nd, 2024. That's what I'm using as the support. So we can get an idea of where it might find support at. You see how the wick came down and kind of teased it, and then it came back up. And this is a week. We're looking at the weekly candle. So when we go over to the days, we can see that today's candle, this one right here, kind of creeped its way towards that support we found in 2024. Okay, in April of 2024. All right, let's get the stock quote for this and talk about the volume. So go right here, floating data box, put that back on, mouse over it. I held it, was supposed to tap it. There we go. All right, so ticker WTW Willis Towers, they opened at $259.59. They had a high of $267.60. They had a low of $246.61, and they closed today at $256.20, which was a trading range of $21. When we look at the trading volume, I'm rounding up. They traded about 2 million shares of their stock today. Compared to everything we looked at today, this seems low if you're comparing it to those things we looked at earlier. So we looked at Apple, and we looked at the SPY. We looked at an ETF, and we looked at Apple. But now this one seems very low compared to those other two. So let's look at the average volume that this in particular stock usually gets in a trading session. So when we look over here, their average volume is 600,000 shares in a trading session. So this is 4 times what they usually get. And I'm rounding this to like half a million to get that number that I'm talking about, because this is almost 2 million. And then yesterday, so on Wednesday, they were just shy of 1 million. They were closer to 1 million yesterday. So that's what we're looking at here. So the volume is increasing, but the price is definitely going down. They had earnings today, so that's expected to have unusually high volume around earnings or on earnings. So that makes sense. Now let's talk about the volume rank percentile. Put me back on the screen. So out of the most recent 252 trading days, only 4 days had higher volume than today. That's what we're seeing over here on the labels. All right. And the volume rank percentile was 98.4%. All right, we're done. Let's move on to the biggest winner for today. And that is, we take off this one. The biggest winner for today is ticker PWR. They went up 15.78% today. Okay. So if we pull this calculator up, if someone had invested $500, we put that in 15.78, hit the percentage, hit equal. They would have gotten an ROI of $78.90. This would have been on top of their $500 investment, the principal. So their $500 would have grown to a total of $578.90. So that was our quick math. Now let's talk about these numbers. Their previous close was $628.60, and today they closed at $727.77. We have them selected. Let's go over here to analyze. Ticker PWR. They are in the industrial sector. Now we're going to come down here to company profile. The name of the company is Quanta Services Incorporated. Their website is right here. Links to their website is down in the description for your convenience. Let's read some of this description. Quanta Services Incorporated offers infrastructure solutions for the electric and gas utility, power generation, load center, manufacturing, communications, pipeline, and energy industries. Okay, now let's pull up their website. Here's their website. Let's change this to the financial advice disclaimer. There we go. Put me back on the screen. And yes, I'm talking my way through it because last time I didn't and I messed up. So what? Here we go. All right. So we want to find out the mission, vision, purpose. Look, browse the homepage. Investors, relations, and careers right here at the top, guys. Here's careers, here's investors. Won't be hard to find. Click here, I'm interested. Whole bunch of stuff. Here's benefits. Man, just click on something. So we got it. Leadership, history, safety. Okay, I don't see purpose and vision over there. All right. So let's go back, close this out. We're back at the home page. Let's scroll the home page so we at least know where careers and investors are. So we can come back to the top. Quanta is the power of people. We build the experience, partnerships, and culture of safety and diversity needed to forge the infrastructure solutions that power modern life. So they did it in 2 sentences. Building a better future. I like their website. They have a lot of different stuff going on. So electric power, underground utility, renewables, broadband, specialty, utility performance solutions, engineering, concrete solutions. Okay. Power up your career. Ooh, that man in the cold working hard. You see that? It changed as soon as I said you see that. But yeah, they working. There he is. All right. Quanta is a family of companies. So they talk about the, look at this. So they got another one. I like this map stuff, man. I don't know what it is about maps, but I like it. All right. Safety, health, environment, quality, Quanta stories. All right. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Find your career, get started. All right. Down here at the bottom, we see culture, leadership. Let's just go with culture. All right. Building infrastructure for a brighter future. People first. At Quanta Services, our people are the heart of everything we do. Dope. Photos. Okay. We recruit, develop, and retain the best people from all backgrounds and multiple disciplines, including professionals, military veterans, recent graduates, and students. That's good. That's good. That's good. I like that. Okay, remember, links for these websites are down in the description for your convenience. Guys, I'm scrolling down. This is crazy. I'm scrolling down. It's going sideways, and now it's going down. That's dope. I like that. All right, safety always. If I'm going too fast, links are down in the description for these websites for your convenience. I want to hurry up and get through this and move on because we still got to look at the technicals and wrap this show up, okay? All right, so we went through that. Now let's go to the careers. And it ain't going to be hard to find the benefits because they actually have a section for it. So I'm going to browse over this. Build a career with purpose. So maybe this is purpose. Your career journey starts here. Quanta Services employs the largest craft skilled labor workforce in the U.S. Okay, that's nice to know. Here's a video. Link for the description is down in the link for this website is down in the description if you want to check that video out. So these are the different departments that they specialize in, and they talk about the different roles. They need a helicopter pilot at this company. Boy, they got a lot of different, man, what? Right here, if you didn't see it. All right, this is a bit, man, they have a big dynamic website. I'm gonna be scared. We just scrolling and it's taking forever. So here's the benefits. And then they say learn more. Guys, I'm not gonna keep scrolling. Let's go to the benefits. All right, now here's a problem. It's words up here, but you can't see them because it's white on white. Did you see that? There it is. Okay. Culture, capabilities, careers, companies, investors. Okay, we can come back up there. Benefits, our benefits. All right, now I like this because remember when we looked at what company were we just looking at? What was it? Tower something, WTW, and we tried to find it and it was like vague. Or was that Apple? I think that was Apple. Apple was vague. I don't even think we found the, don't quote me on that. I know that Apple was very vague, but see how this one has it broken down? Let me take me off the screen. They telling you where it is and what's included. You know this ahead of time. You already know what's going on. I like this. I like it. All right, so we've seen the benefits. Now we can go ahead and move on to investors. So go back to the top. I don't like that part though. I don't like the fact that this background thing is not consistent. You see that? Like we got it. There we go. All right, investors. So here's the stock information. Let me see if I need to zoom in, if this helps. That's 150. So we zoomed in. Ooh, that's zoomed in for real, ain't it? Where's the stock information? We're gonna scroll down. Boy, this got a scroll on it, don't it? Stock information. Here we go. They trade on the New York Stock Exchange, ticker PWR, which we know. Here's the name of the company. They have that. Here's the stock information right here. 25 plus, bringing teams together over 25 years. That's what that was. All right. There's the helicopter thing. So they need a pilot. You can't see it because I was on there. Here's one of the employees flying this helicopter to take care of this. Man, that looked dangerous, boy. Woo. Man, but somebody got to do it. You want power, don't you? You want power, don't you? You better get up there and get it. So we definitely gotta, I appreciate y'all guys because I need some power. So there we go. All right, we did that. Now we need to find the stock quote. Like, see if I saw just seen something that said stock data. I'm scrolling so fast. Here it is. Let me take this off. Right here, stock data. Quote and chart. There we go. All right. So here's the chart that they offer. Here's the quote, detailed information, and that's it. So let's go to Think or Swim. All right, Think or Swim. Think or Swim disclaimer. Here we go. We got the ticker up. Now let's go to their chart. Thanks for sticking with me. I'm about to wrap it up. Ooh, look at the gap up. So we're looking at the 1 year daily chart. Their 52-week low was $281.71. You can't 17 cents. Right here. So that date was 4/30 of 2025. So April 30 of 2025, their 52-week low was $281.17. Guys, this has just been on a steady uptrend, and now they done gapped up. So let me pull up my favorite tool to show you what's possible out here in this stock market. So I'm going to connect that to the low and connect this to the high. And it's going to tell us how long it took to get this return. So this opportunity was within this time frame, right? So exactly a year, 365 days, it was possible because the opportunity was there. If somebody had timed this perfect from that low to that high, that was 158% gain. You can read it right there for yourself. You can see it with your own eyes. Put me back on the screen. 158%. 158.84. You did not have to get the whole move. Somebody did not have to get the whole move to make some money. They could have got it here. We're going to use the tool again and got out here. So that's not the whole move, right? That's 50%. So if somebody had invested $500, they would have made $250. If they had invested $10,000, they would have made $5,000. If they invested $20,000, they'd have made $10,000. That's what you see in there with that opportunity there from that to that. So these opportunities are here. You got to develop the skill of learning how to read the charts, finding opportunities, and getting in. You got to learn how to do it, though. You can't just be doing it and following somebody else, and you got to learn, got to educate yourself. Like, though, they can't just get in a helicopter and work on the power line. He had to learn how to fly the helicopter. So you need to learn how to trade and invest in the stock market. You need to learn. Don't just go in there and throw your money in there. No, you need to learn. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. So they do pay a dividend. And it looks like the dividend has increased. And the dividend is going to be these green icons. So 10 cent, 11 cent, 11 cent, the EPS. So it was increasing, $2.48, $3.33. Then this dropped. Didn't drop by much, but it's lower than 333. And then this is going down. So 268. But for some reason, the stock don't care about it because the stock's still going up while the EPS dropping, but the dividend is going up. It's trading above the 200-day simple moving average and the 9 simple moving average. It's been in a smooth, consistent uptrend. As far as support and resistance, let's go out to the 10-year. This is going to, man, look how smooth this. Now, this is a 200-week simple moving average because we changed the time frame. But this company, stock-wise, has just been on an uptrend. And now, since this is an all-time high, $728.85, there is no historical data we can use as resistance. We went out far enough to be able to see that, at least over the last 10 years. We don't have any historical data. So the resistance is going to be the $728.85. But what's so crazy about this, it looks like it almost closed right at the high. Am I on the screen? No, I'm not. It looks like they almost closed right at the high. So I'm not going to really, I'm going to just draw the gap. That's what I'm going to do as far as the technicals, because we got to wrap it up. That's the gap. So the low of today is the top of the gap. And the bottom of the gap is the high of yesterday's candle. So here's, why is my chain up? That's the gap that we're looking at. That happened today. So between $637 to $691.88. Feel like red on Friday. It's like, I'm gonna tuck mine in. So anyway, that's what we got. Now let's get the data box going. Now let's talk about the stock quote for ticker PWR, Quanta Services. So Quanta opened at $699.61. They had a high of $728.85. They had a low of $691.88, and they closed the day at $727.77, which was a range of $36.98. When we look at the trading volume, they traded 2.4 million shares of their stock today. Now we're going to look at what the average volume is that they get. So we're going to take me off the screen and look at the label, take the floating data box off. There we go. And now here we are. So their average volume that they trade is just about 1 million shares in a trading session. So they did about 2.5 times more. No, they did 2.5 compared to what they usually do. 2.5 times compared to what they usually do. That's the right way to say it. And then yesterday was about 1.3 million shares traded on Wednesday. So let's talk about the volume rank percentile, and we can wrap it up, guys. So the volume rank percentile was 98.8%, which meant out of the most recent 252 trading days, only 3 days had higher volume than today. That's what I'm seeing from the technicals on here and what we seeing from what happened. So we kept this one simple because this company just been uptrending. This just been uptrending, and they've been quietly uptrending. They've never been on the radar as far as like a biggest winner. This is the first time they've went up so much in a short period of time that they actually popped up as the biggest winner. But when we look at their consistency over a 10-year period, it's been on an uptrend. That's wild. This is why it's important to look at the chart. So you can find these opportunities for yourself, but you got to put the time in to look at these charts. So let's go ahead. You can tune in every night at 11 and you can do it. You can look at the charts with me. Appreciate it. That way I ain't by myself. You ain't by yourself. Join the community and come here and we can look at these charts. We back at the main. All right, we got that going. All right. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. You already know. I hope that you learned something and I hope that you earned something. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. If you want the story behind how I went from quitting my day job to becoming a full-time trader and investor in the stock market, check out my exclusive interview, Stock Market People, Money, and Investing. Link down in the description. And make sure you tune in weekdays following the market trading session at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Take care and God bless.